your first draft with the Packers was in the late 90s, pretty much?
Yeah, so I had interned in 97 right after they won the Super Bowl, and then
Right.
worked in Kansas City with John Schneider and those guys for a year in 1998. Marty Schottenheimer's last year there.
Right.
And then came back with Ron Wolf, so that my first real draft was 1999. That we went.
So Ron Wolf was the guy running the draft room, and
yeah.
Ted Thompson was in there too,
He
obviously.
was in there as well. John Dorsey, Reggie McKenzie, Scott McLuhan.
Jeez.
So there was a lot of guys, and it was great. As a young scout, it couldn't have been a better situation to kind of learn and grow.
Okay, so just listen. I know you're not going to give me any specifics. You're 23rd overall in this clock, and your draft board is set. Do you already have people having called you in advance saying, "Hey, what would it take to move up if the board falls right now?" Do you have those options already in your back pocket right now?
Yeah, there's definitely some of those calls, but it's usually like, we're willing to come up. We might go back. It's more of those conversations.
So what does that do you? Right.
I think it's just you're just kind of aware of maybe some of the teams that are really interested in coming up, or the ones that are really interested in coming back, and then as I think over the next day and a half, before the thing gets going tomorrow, you'll have a better idea what it might cost to go up or down. So we'll see. Every year is a little bit different, but the process is kind of the same.
Well, I mean, you're in a spot right in between Pittsburgh and you're right in front of Minnesota.
Right. Yeah.
And clearly, you're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. Okay, and you've been there, you've done it, man. So and the Vikings aren't going to one either. And if certain players drop, you would be the spot to call. Certainly, if people think Minnesota's going to trade out to go get it, they'd want to jump that line to you. Right. And is that something you utilize right now to basically call others at all?
Yeah,
to set things up.
I think if you're willing to go up or down, or you have a strong thought that you want to do it, you certainly want to let everybody know that that's what you're thinking.
Right.
I do think, the quarterback thing always changes things, because it's going to be more expensive to come up to get a quarterback than it would be something else at times. Yeah.
So that's where the points chart, you throw that out the window because of the quarterback? I think
it just changes things slightly at times, depending on each quarterback class. And again, you don't really know when a lot of teams are coming up what they're coming up for, but you may have an idea. And I certainly think that if it's a quarterback, it's usually in the top 10, but it usually costs a little bit more coming up for a quarterback.
So let's just say you're on the clock and you look down at your phone. Is it your phone that is it your cell phone that rings?
It's either mine or maybe a couple other guys in the room. Yeah.
Okay.
Working trades.
Have you ever been on the phone and you're talking trade with somebody and the call waiting goes off? And has that ever happened to you?
I had a good college buddy, kind of one of the guys in my circle of guys that I went to college with that may have had a few pops and kept calling me while we were on the clock.
Come on.
So every time we get together now, all the other guys are like, "Are you kidding me?" It always comes up. So, but yeah, it's pretty easy just to dismiss it.
So you're on the clock, and a drunk college buddy of yours is calling you up.
I'm not going to use his name. He'll probably be out
Actually,
there.
you should out him. You should out him on the show.
We
Right
take
now.
a wide receiver, bro.
PG, what you doing, man? Yeah, what's he doing? He's operating the draft for the Green Bay friggin'
Trade up for
Packers,
Genti.
Brian, could I ask you a question? Have you ever gotten a call, like Rich said, where a deal has been done and then you get another call and it's better than the one you just had?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever had that. I think there's been times where we've been dealing with multiple teams maybe trying to come up to our pick. And, again, I usually like to have those kinds of things done before you're actually on the clock, kind of a thought process of, hey, this is what it's going to be. But there's been times where maybe we had something and kind of agreed to, and then right as you get on the clock, somebody calls. And if that changes, then you just call the other team back and see if they're willing to do that or something better.
All in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and again, there's a timing element too. You better have somebody to pick, right? Because if it doesn't go through, you got to pick somebody.
And there's other people in the room who are hammering that down, or you've already hammered it down.
Usually,
you right now, Brian Gutekunst, you're sitting here day before the draft. You've got a short list of guys that you're definitely taking if they're on the draft board.
Yeah, again, you don't
unless somebody blows you away.
Right, or it's kind of like that. I think you always have to have somebody to pick, and then if the board kind of tells you it's maybe best to move back, then you try to do that if you can. But that's uncontrollable. You can't control that. You have to have somebody willing to come up. So yeah, I think you've done enough work now. You kind of you know that unless somebody falls that you're not expecting to fall, that there's a group of guys that may be in that wheelhouse, and you're ready to go.
Is the points chart, again, this chart where each draft choice has an associated amount of points allotted to it, and that gives you a general sense of whether a trade you've been offered or you're making is fair. Is that gospel amongst you and the 31 other colleagues you have in the NFL?
No, I think everybody's got multiple charts that they use. We do. We have, kind of the Jimmy Johnson and one that was, we call it the Jimmy Johnson revised one, and we have a one that we use internally that's kind of an analytics chart that our guys have come up with. And they're really just guides. They're kind of guides to give you an idea of whether this is kind of a fair trade or not. And but at the end of the day, and I always go back to the story of Clay Matthews, we drafted B.J. Raji. Ted Thompson drafted B.J. Raji in the top 10, and he wanted to get back into the top of the first round, or the back of the first round to get Clay.
Yes.
And I think it was John Schneider and Reggie McKenzie and John. Those guys were working the phones at the time trying to get a deal done, and there were a lot of opportunities to go up and get him, but our guys felt it was just too much. And Ted kept saying, well, it's about the player. That's what matters to me. I want this player. So I think every situation is different, and it's those charts are a guide to give you an idea of maybe what it should cost. But at the end of the day, I think you got to make the decision based on the player.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.